That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about Red Rocket, the seventh film directed by Sean Baker, which premiered at the 2021 Cannes Film Festival, where surprisingly, to me, it went home empty-handed. It is being released December 3rd, 2021, courtesy of A24.
December 23rd?
December 3rd.
Oh, 3rd.
Is that what I said?
Oh, tomorrow.
So this is the second time I've seen it, and I know you're a fan. You've only actually seen one other Sean Baker movie. I've seen everything except his first, and he is truly a filmmaker I like a lot.
I have only seen Tangerine,
yes,
which I thought was excellent.
Yes, and this is more of Mr. Baker's prized themes of sex workers, porn stars, and donuts.
All things I like.
Yeah.
Okay, so the basic story is Simon Rex plays a character named Mikey Saber.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he is a porn actor, and he spent several years in LA doing porn with his wife.
He won several AVMs, as he tells us. AVNs, yes.
But his wife got burned out, moved back to Texas City,
mm-hmm.
Texas. But the opening of the film is we see him on a bus looking destitute, like he just got his ass whooped, going back to Texas City with no money. And he shows up at his wife's doorstep, begging for help. She's there with her mother. They reluctantly offer him a place to stay. He promises to get a job. He tries, but it's difficult because he has like a huge gap in his resume, and he willingly tells people he's a porn actor, so they don't want him working for them. So to make money, he starts selling drugs. So he's doing that, making money. He ends up giving his wife and mother-in-law like $800, which is like they just won the lottery. So they're happy to have him. He starts having a sexual relationship with his wife again. They are estranged, which is important to know. When Mikey meets a girl working at the local donut shop named Rayleigh.
But call me Strawberry.
She's 17.
Mm-hmm.
Simon Rex, that character I'm sure is supposed to be in his late 30s or early 40s.
Probably around there.
Which I think is funny because, what's the movie where everyone was all Licorice Pizza? There were so many comments about us not criticizing this relationship between a 20-year-old and a 15-year-old. Which, first of all, I didn't see the movie, so I didn't have anything to say, but they don't have sex in the movie.
No, they don't. In fact, they address that, but I'm not here to uphold a moral code for filmmakers or characters, so...
But anyway...
Be that as it may, those children did not have sex in Licorice Pizza, and I'm not here to say whether they should or not. Like,
I just think it's funny there were so many comments about like people being outraged about that relationship over a movie they haven't seen.
If you knew what I did when I was 13, like everybody was commenting.
But then this film, like Rayleigh is 17 and Simon Rex's character explains like, oh, in the state of Texas this is legal. So I just think it's funny that this 40-year-old porn star can be in a relationship with a 17-year-old.
Legally, yes.
Legally, but then people are up in arms about this 20-year-old and this 15-year-old. But anyway, he falls for this girl, but really what he's doing is grooming her because he wants to take her back to LA and make a porn star out of her.
He wants to make her the next, what does it say, Sasha Grey or Jenna Jameson.
Okay.
Because that will revive his career.
Yes, but things get fucked up because, what's his wife's name?
Lexi, played by Bree Elrod.
Lexi has a kid, and she was relying on Mikey to go with her to a social worker for like a visit to try to get custody of her son, and Mikey flakes on her to spend the weekend with Rayleigh. So Lexi's mad, so she decides to...
Well, she does this after he says that he's leaving.
Right, but she's pressed. So Mikey is selling drugs from this black lady,
Leondria.
who they call Lil.
No, Lil is Lexi's mother.
That's right, Leondria,
whose daughter June works for her.
Yes. So Lexi calls Leondria and basically says like, you need to rough up Mikey to get him to leave and take all of his money. So the end of the film is these drug people come, rob Mikey, literally take everything from him, because there's a scene, which I think will probably be the scene everyone talks about in this film, where Mikey runs out of the house naked. So you see his prosthetic penis flapping in the wind. He runs all night, and then in the morning he goes to Strawberry's house to pick her up. Or I don't know what this. I kind of like this about the story, is that we don't really know what he thinks he's going to do there, because he has no money to take Strawberry to LA. But when he shows up, she opens the door and she's looking all sexy, like she's ready to go, and then it cuts to dark. So, you know, who knows how the story ends. But I thought Simon Rex in this movie was excellent.
Yeah, he did. That's why I thought I would have bet money he would have won Best Actor at Cannes for this. And
I don't know if this character like just spoke to who he is as a person, or he was really flexing some strong acting chops, but it really works so well.
Well, I think the script is quite strong, especially for his character too, which was written by Baker's usual scribe, Chris Bergoch.
Should I go down my notes? So I was reading about this movie, and it was shot kind of like guerrilla style.
With, as Sean Baker likes to call them, first-time actors rather than non-professionals.
So limited crew, short amount of time, first-time actors. I do think it shows, because some of the acting is a little questionable.
Sure, but again, that's part of that rough around the edges bit is part of its charm. As
I would agree.
Most of Baker's films.
Well, I've only seen Tangerine, and I didn't feel that way. I thought everyone gave a very like organic performance. Like it all felt very authentic to
Sure.
me. This one, like Lil. So Lexi's mom is a straight up crackhead, and
They both meth seems to be somewhere going on in the background, though we don't see it.
And I thought it felt like authentic, but also like, oh, this.
I thought Lexi. I think Bree Elrod is also really good in this, but I thought Lil was very funny.
Yes. Well, yes. So there's charm to it.
And then
I think Leondria's acting is like.
So Judy Hill, interestingly, was a subject in the documentary "What You Gonna Do When the World's on Fire," directed by Roberto Minervini, which I do recommend seeing. So I recognize her from that, so it's interesting to see her.
It works.
She's playing like a drug lord.
Yeah, it works. It's a little rough, but her daughter, who's supposed to be like a very butch lesbian, I think, or maybe even like trans, because she says, "Don't call me sister," but who knows? Anyway, you know, that was a little crunchy too.
Sure, I would agree with that.
I did like the donut shop owner.
Who plays the donut shop owner in
Tangerine.
Shih-Ching Tsou, and I think she's involved in. She's producer of several Baker's projects.
Yeah, I thought she worked really well. It all works well. I would definitely recommend this movie.
We haven't brought up Lonnie.
God, we didn't bring that up. Okay, so Lexi and her mom live in like a manufactured home, and next to them is a neighbor. This old man and his son named Lonnie. But when do we learn? Oh, I'll explain. So Mikey becomes fast friends with Lonnie because he sees that he has a car. So he just wants a ride. So they kind of ride around and do shit.
But Lexi used to be Lonnie's babysitter.
That's right. And Lonnie's obsessed with Mikey and Lexi because they both did porn, and Lonnie has consumed all of their content. So he's a big fan. Mm-hmm. But Lonnie's a loser. We find out he, what's the word? Stolen valor.
Yes.
Yeah, he's been charged with stolen valor, which means like faking being a veteran. Mm-hmm. So he's a loser. But towards the end of the film, Lonnie and Mikey are driving around, and they're on the freeway. And all of a sudden, Mikey's like, "Oh my God, you're about to miss our exit, you idiot!" So Lonnie like goes from, like the leftmost lane to like the exit and causes like a major
22-car pile.
Yeah,
which you don't see, but you see it. There's
news footage, which I thought was well done. But it's in the news footage that we see that Lonnie's real name is Lonifer.
Yeah.
And when I tell you, I cackled so much because I didn't. Have you ever met a Lonifer?
No.
I've known several Lonnies, and I've never known any. That was wild. Some other notes. Oh, when Lil and Lexi get mad at Mikey, like, you've been here for 3 weeks, you haven't given us any money. And then to the audience, I'm like, God, he's such a loser. Like, he's been selling drugs and he has no money to give them. And then all of a sudden he's like, gotcha, bitches, I got $800. And then he's like, here, take this money. Now I run this shit. And now let's go get some donuts. And I thought that was such a good scene because they go, as they're walking to the donut shop, he's like hyping them up, like how exciting this is. And then when they get to the donut shop, they ball out. He's like, get whatever you want. Oh, you want to give her the biggest cappuccino? Yeah. It was so cute. And then hearing Lil talking about the donuts and how happy she is about the donuts, I thought that was a very good scene.
There are a lot of very good scenes like that.
Yes.
And I think the editing too is kind of a class of comedy in itself as well.
Yes. When Rayleigh said she was 17, I was like, now wait a minute.
Played by Suzanna Son. Why, you thought she looked older?
I don't think she looks elderly, but it's just, no, I don't.
She looked like a young, litsome thing.
Yeah, like early 20s.
Sure.
But just sort of like, oh my God, what a creep. Like, he's going to try to talk to this 17-year-old. But my next note is, I think the most powerful aspect of this story and why, I think my biggest praise for this story and the character of Mikey is how he switches, or the dichotomy of like, he is a really sweet guy. He seems affable. He seems like he has like ADD or whatever, but he does seem like he does care and listen. But then that fool is a creep. Like, he's a predator. He's grooming this girl. So I think the way that's handled is very elegant, because even like, it takes us on a journey of sort of thinking he's a loser to like, oh, he's not that bad. Oh, he's kind of sweet. Oh, he's just a dude trying to get in this girl's pants. Oh, wait, no, he's a predator. And then by the end, I still felt like bad for him.
You do, but
when he gets robbed, like.
But even what he does to Lonnie after that, like, you don't know me. When technically he's the one that caused the accident.
Yes. Oh yeah, I didn't finish. So then the accident happens, and now because he and Lonnie flee the scene of this major pileup, and it's all over the news. And then of course the police come, and Mikey threatens Lonnie, like, don't say shit. I was never with you. Don't include me. And Lonnie takes the fall. And the way Mikey reacts when he finds out he's off the hook is like, God, you're a terrible person.
He is.
But then somehow likable. So I think the writing of that character is very strong.
I agree. So the film opens with Bye Bye Bye. Which
NSYNC, performed by NSYNC, yeah.
Yes. Which I'm sure Mr. Baker paid a pretty penny for. And then I really like the end because it's played backwards outside this pink house of strawberries, which had a very David Lynch Twin Peaks vibe to me.
Part of Mikey's racket is he's selling drugs at the donut shop. So he wiggles his way into, like, what's her name? Rayleigh's little situation. And then there are all these construction workers who come to get donuts every day. So Mikey's selling drugs to them. I thought that was fun. Then, before Rayleigh and Mikey kind of get too serious, she explains, like, oh, there's this guy I've been seeing, another young person. But, I don't really like him and he won't leave me alone. So Mikey says, let's roll up to his house. So they roll up there. Mikey tells him, like, I have your girl now. Look me up on the internet. I'm a pro. I thought that was funny. And then we cut to them back at the donut shop, and that boy's mom and dad come with him, and they whoop Mikey's ass in front of the donut shop. I thought that was funny.
I don't think we mentioned this is set in 2016 on the eve of the presidential elections.
Yeah.
And also there are two sequences of dialogue where they talk about oral sex.
Oh,
remember that? Very interesting, because he's won an award for best oral, and it's the first time with June is saying, like, wait, you're just getting head. How is that you?
The woman's doing all the work.
Yes, and even the kind of the way he descends into vulgarities, kind of, I found very interesting. Kind of how this world that he's trying to drag this girl into. Again, I think there are like semblances of kind of Greek mythology there. And then again, with Strawberry, he's telling her about that, and she says the same thing, like, well, I'm doing all the work. Why?
Right.
So yes, it's saying a lot of interesting things in what's otherwise kind of a simple seeming story.
Lastly, what's her name? Lexi. Because Lexi and Mikey are having sex, but then as Mikey becomes more attached to Rayleigh, he kind of pushes Lexi away. And then at one point, when he's getting, so they've grown distant, she's mad at him, all the things with her kid, then she calls the drug dealers to come beat him up. And while they're getting him out of the house, she calls him a suitcase pimp. Mm-hmm. And he gets so mad. And I didn't know what a suitcase pimp was, so I had to look it up. And apparently it's like the boyfriend or husband of like a porn actor who basically goes and like handles their business. Mm-hmm. So
a failure.
Yeah, I guess.
Based on what he used to be.
But I thought that was interesting because it really inflamed him, and I didn't know what that was. Anyway, I think this is definitely a movie to check out. I think Simon Rex deserves a lot of praise for this portrayal.
It's on John Waters' 10 Favorite Films of the Year, which was just published the other day.
Okay. What would you give it?
I believe I gave it out of can, and I still think 4 out of 5.
Oh, wow. I would give it 3.5 out of 5. Anything else?
No.
Bye.
Bye.